Good morning, everyone. So, in the last class, we are trying to discuss with our interface concepts here. So, in that interface, we already covered some of the interfaces here. The first interface we covered as a collection interface, and this is our base interface of our collection frameworks here. And in the interface, some of the methods we identified, and second, we identified the list interface here. So, in the list interface also, we are having some of the specific method which are available inside this particular list interface. And the third one, we identified set interface. The set interface does not have any information here. Getting the point? The set interface does not have any information. And we covered with one more, the interface called sorted set. Basically, the sorted set is extending this particular set interface, and it is having some unique like unique methods which are available inside this particular sorted set here. Observe here in the sorted set, so some of the methods we defined here, so those are the specific to the this particular interface called sorted set. So we'll try to understand the remaining interfaces here. The first interface we need to focus more onto the navigable set. Now you can see the navigable set is extending from the sorted set here. Getting the point? So this particular navigable set is extending from the sorted set, and whenever it is extending, we already identified. So whatever the method we are having in the sorted set, so those method we can access inside this particular navigable set here. Getting the point? So inside this particular navigable set here. So basically, whenever we are trying to access the sorted set information as well as collection information, so why this particular navigable set is introduced here? Getting the point? So the purpose of this particular navigable set here, so if we want to retrieve an element, getting the point? If I want to load an element, so based on the some matches here, getting the point? So based on some conditions here, so we can go for this particular navigable set here. So along with the sorted set behavior, so what is the purpose of this particular sorted set? So we used to connect with our object based on some sorting nature, whether it is ascending or descending. We can work on this particular interface called sorted set. So those functionality also, getting the point. So those functionality also we can achieve inside this particular navigable set here. So along with the sorting nature, we are going to have an additional benefit here whenever we are trying to retrieve the data based on some condition. So we can go for this particular navigable set. So inside this particular navigable set here, we'll have a different methods here. Getting the point. So what are the methods we are having, and what is the purpose of each method here? So that we need to focus so that we can understand here how exactly this particular navigable set is going to work here. Getting the point. How exactly the navigable set is going to work. Okay, let me open our the navigable set interface here. Navigable set here. So what exactly the navigable set will work here? Now you can see navigable set. The navigable set is available inside the package called java.util. Java.util here. Let me open this particular navigable set. So now you can understand here navigable set is extending from the sorted set. Sorted set. Okay, now we need to focus here. So what is the method purpose here? Now you can see, so this particular lower method is expecting object element. Getting the point? And it's trying to return the element here. So whatever the element we are going to pass, the same type we are going to return the particular element here. But now we need to understand the purpose of this particular method. So now you can read here, so we can easily understand here what is the purpose of this particular feature here. Okay, so it returns the greatest element in the set. Carrying the point, it will try to return the greatest element here. Is going to check for the less than the given element. So less than the given element. Carrying the point. Now, so we need to understand here internally it is checking the less than condition. So if the less than condition is satisfied, so how many elements we are going to satisfy? So in that we are going to get the greatest element here, right? So if we are having null here, so it will try to return the null if there is no such element here. Getting the point? If this particular condition is not matching here, getting the point? If this particular condition is not matching here, so we are going to get a null here. So this method will return null. So when the condition is not satisfied, if the condition is satisfied here, the less than condition, so it will return the greatest element here. Getting the point? So this is the purpose of this particular lower method here. So how we open these features in the Eclipse? Please tell. Okay, so to open this particular the jar classes, basically these are the available inside the jar class. So now you can see. So the class is available here. Now you can see on the bottom navigable set dot class. So basically it is a jar class. So where it is available? So inside the which jar it is available? Now we can see here java.util package, observe, JRA system library. Inside this particular Java base, so we are getting these many classes information. So inside this particular Java.base jar, we are getting this information. So if we want to load this particular information, now we can see Control Shift R. This particular Control Shift R will provide the class path related classes. Class path related classes is nothing but whatever the classes we are having. Getting the point? So whatever the classes we are having inside this particular source directory. Inside this particular source directory, so those classes we can load from the Control Shift R. Now you can see here open resource here. Open resource. Inside this particular open resource, if I'm going to write here navigable, there is no information. Navigable set. Getting the point? We are not getting any information. But the same thing, if I'm going to type Control Shift T. So Control Shift T is an open type here. Getting the point? So in the open type, we can write. We are getting the information. So now what you understand here? In the open type, along with the resource classes, getting the point? Along with the resource classes, we can load. So the classes which are resides in the jars. Getting the point? But in the resource we can load only the classes information which are available inside the source directory. Getting the point? So this is the difference between open type and open resource here. Okay, so using the open type only, we are trying to load all the classes here. Okay, so back to here, our example. So we are trying to discuss this particular method called lower method. Now we identify the condition here. So this condition is very important here. So if we understand this particular condition, we can see how this particular method is implemented. How this particular method is implemented. Okay, now we understand the lower method here. So we understand the particular lower method here. Now, so we need to go for another method here. Getting the point? So we need to go for another method. Now you can see floor method. Basically, these are the specific methods. Getting the point? These are the specific method to the navigable set here. So these methods are not defined in our collection interface. Getting the point? So we need to understand carefully how this particular specific methods are implemented. Now you can see how this particular floor method will work. So to understand this particular floor method, now what we can do? So this method also will return the greatest element, like a largest element from the set here when this particular condition is satisfied. So less than or equals to the given element. Getting the point? Less than or equals to the less than or equals to the given element. But what about this particular lower method? Only the condition we are having less than condition. Getting the point? So only we are having less than condition, but the floor method will have less than as well as less than or equals to. Getting the point? Less than and less than or equals to here. So this is we need to understand very carefully. So the difference between floor and lower method. Getting the point? So this is the purpose of this particular floor method. Right. Now we can see another method. So the another method here now you can see ceiling method. So what is the purpose of this particular ceiling method? So it will try to return the least element. Correct the point. It is not returning greater element. It is trying to return the least element here. So and here the condition here we are having so greater than or equals to. When this particular greater than or equals to the condition is satisfied, we are going to get the least element here. Getting the point. So we are going to get least element. So this is the purpose of this particular ceiling method. Only like each and every method we are going to have the differentiation here. So less than or equals to or greater than or equals to. So this is the purpose like each method will have some difference here. Right? Now so copy this particular method purpose here. Okay. Now we need to go for the another method. So what are the another method we are having? Now you can see higher method. So what is the purpose of this particular higher method here? The higher method is trying to return the least element, but only the condition here greater than. So there is no greater than or equals to. Getting the point? So there is no greater than or equals to condition. The ceiling method having greater than or equals to, but higher method is having only greater condition. The higher method is having only greater condition here. So this is very important. We need to understand here. So this particular higher method. And now observe here pool first method. So pool first method. So what is doing here the pool first method? So this is the purpose of this particular method here. So retrieve and remove the first. Remove the first. So first element in that first is going to checking the lowest element. Correct the point. So it will try to retrieve an element and it will remove the whatever the element we remove like retrieved, whatever the element we retrieved, and here so it's going to perform the some the like the each and every element here, whether it is a lower element or it is a higher element. Based on that lower element, it will try to remove, and whatever the element is removed, so the particular element is going to returns here. So otherwise, like if the set is empty, it will try to return the null. Cutting the point. So first it will try to remove the element from the like so navigable set, and based on that it will try to find out the lowest element here, and the lowest element is going to remove from the navigable set object here. Cutting the point. So this is the purpose of this particular pool first here. This is the purpose of this particular pool first here. And now let me copy this methods also, and we need to understand the implementation concepts here. So this particular each and every method we need to understand the implementation concepts here. So because of that purpose I'm trying to copy this particular object information here. Okay, now we can go for the another method, pool last. So see the difference here. it will try to remove the last highest element. Correct the point. Basically, it will try to return the last element. So removing the element in the process. So removing the element in the process here. Right. So because the set is going to sorted and this based on this particular sorting nature, it will try to find out the highest value. Getting the point. So this particular full first and full last, whatever the element, like whether it is the lowest or higher element we are trying to find out. So internally is going to work on this some sorting behavior. So based on that we can find out the lowest element and higher element here. So the higher element it's going to return by the full last method and lower element is going to return by the full first method. So this is the difference between full first and full last method. And the another method we already identified, like we'll try to take some time to understand the iterator method here. We'll try to understand the iterator method after completion of this particular the basic concepts of this particular collection framework. So we'll keep as it is. Basically, it will try to return the elements here one by one here. So this is only the purpose of this particular iterator. This is only the purpose of iterator. Now we can understand here. So descending set here. So descending set, what it will do, it will try to return the navigable set object here. Getting the point. It will try to return the navigable set in the reverse order. Getting the point. So if the objects are in the ascending order, we are going to get a reverse order. So if the objects in the descending order, we are going to get the reverse order, something like ascending here. So every time it will try to make the objects in the descending order here. Getting the point. So to find out the descending information, we can go for this particular descending set. Getting the point. So we can go for the descending set method, and later, so this is the descending iterator. So iterator is nothing but it will try to return the iterator. So like the elements it's going to return one by one and in a descending order. Getting the point. The objects we are going to get in the descending order one by one here. So this is the purpose of this particular descending iterator here. So we'll see how this particular descending iterator and the descending set it's going to converting the object into the descending format here. Now you can see subset element. Getting the point. So subset element, we already identified subset here. Basically, between these two, from element and to element here, whatever the object we are going to have, so those elements, so it's going to copy and create a new navigable set object. It will return the newly created navigable set object here. But in that here, now these are the two Boolean values here. Now we need to focus the Boolean values here. So how this particular Boolean values is going to work. Now you can see if this code we are making true, if the low endpoint is so the lowest element to be included here. Getting the point. And the true includes here. From include and true include here. So highest endpoint. Getting the point. So when we are trying to make this particular the Boolean value from include, so what is checking here? So it will try to find out the lowest elements also it's going to return to the returning view. So returning view is nothing but returning navigable set. Same way, if I'm going to set the two element the Boolean value as a true, so highest element is going to included into the navigable set object. Navigable set object. So otherwise, so those objects are not going to included into the newly created navigable set. Right. So we'll understand how this particular methods are implemented. But now we understand the purpose of this particular method. It will try to create one more navigable set. So based on the from element and to element here. So this is we need to understand by seeing this particular method called subset, because the subset method we already identified in the list interface as well as in the set interface here. So now we can see set method. So how this particular set method is working. So it will try to return this particular navigable set. Getting the point. It will try to return the navigable set object here, and it's going to include the all the elements. Getting the point. So all the elements here. So those are the less than. Getting the point. So those are the less than. And if we include this particular true, what happens internally? It will try to make the element equals here. Getting the point. It will make the equal operator. So now you can see, so this particular inclusive, here we need to check here. It will try to return this particular, the highest element is going to included into the navigable set here. So basically, set is nothing but they are making the less than condition. So whatever the element we are passing here, so whatever the element we are going to pass as a two element here. So based on this particular element, so the navigable set is going to check the condition. The less than condition is going to check how many elements we are going to find the less than condition. All the elements are going to return by this particular navigable set here. It's created new navigable set object. It will return here. So this is only the purpose of this particular navigable set here. Right. Only the difference here. So just internally, it making the condition call less than condition, and it is returning the elements here. It's returning the element here. Now you can see, so it will try to return the view of portion of set whose elements are less than or equal. So equals to. So less than or equals to when this, it's going to make the equals to condition. So this when this particular inclusive is true. Cutting the point. When this particular inclusive is true. So if I'm going to make this particular inclusive as a false, so we are not going to get equals to condition. We are not going to get equals to condition. Only the condition we are going to have less than. Getting the point. So this is we need to understand here. This is we need to understand the set method here. Okay, now so we'll try to find out the another method here. Set method we identified. So we need to find out the tail set method. So here also you can see, so here it is a from element. Inside this particular set method, we are having two element. Getting the point. So see the naming convention. So we are passing object information only, but how the naming convention they are making here. So from element and inclusive flags. So now you can see the condition. What is the condition we are having here? So again, it will try to return the navigable set object here when these particular elements are greater than or equals to this particular from element. Getting the point. Greater than or equals to this particular condition. Now you can see the equals to the condition they made when this particular inclusive is true. When this particular inclusive is true. Right. So this is we need to understand the tail set method here. The tail set method. So most of the method, now what we understand here, all the methods are they are going to work based on the so greater than or less than or greater than or equals to or less than or equals to. So this is we need to focus here, but only the name of the method. If you understand the name of the method, we can see whether this particular method internally it's going to make the less than condition or greater than condition. We can easily understand here. Okay, now move on to the tail set method. So subset method. So subset method, again we are having two subset methods. The previously what are the subset method we discussed here? So those are having two Boolean parameters. So those are having two Boolean parameters. But for this subset method, we don't have any Boolean parameter, and this particular subset method is returning sorted set object. But previously, the subset method is returning navigable set object here. So this is So we need to understand here. And here, so whatever the between this particular object here, between this particular object here, how many elements we are going to have? So those elements are going to copy it here. Now you can see, so equivalent to the the method call from element to element false. Getting the point? So which is going to equivalent to the method call the subset method, which is going to have four parameter. So the first from element is true and to element and false. Getting the point? So this is we need to understand the subset method. And so what is the final method we are having? Set method. So now we can see the set method is equivalent to this particular set method. This particular set method is equivalent to this particular method. Okay. So just I will try to define this particular method because those are the equivalent to the another methods here. So tail set. The tail sets also we already discussed here. The tail set method. So this is the tail set method. Getting the point. So now, so this particular method also is pointing to the same method, tail set from element and true. From element and true. Okay. So we'll see. We'll try to understand the each class implementation. Sorry, each method implementation here. But now, just we need to understand the each and every method behavior here. Getting the point. So any questions regarding what are the method we discussed in the navigable set methods here? Anyone having any questions? Okay. So we don't have, what we can do, we'll try to go for the queue interface. So basically, here the pool last and pool first method here, now you can see, so it's going to retrieve and basically it will try to retrieve the particular object and so based on this particular highest element, if the condition is satisfied here, so it's going to remove the last element. So which is we are having the highest element is going to remove the particular element is going to remove and after removing whatever the object we are going to have, the particular object is going to return by this particular pool last method. So let me provide the implementation of this particular pool last method. Let's see tree set method. So which is implementing navigable set. And here now what we can do, so pool last method. And okay, so they are working on the map. So here we need to understand the if I'm going to provide the information. So observe here, basically when we are calling this particular pool last method, internally what we are doing is we are trying to find out the last entry. We are trying to find out the last entry here. So based on this particular last entry here, so now what we are doing here, internally we are calling here export entry with help of this particular export entry. So if it is not null, abstract to map simple. Okay, so this is not important here. So just they are checking here. If the P is not equals to null, they're trying to delete an object here. Correct the point. So if the P, whatever the last entry we are finding here, the last entry we are trying to deleting here, right? The deleted object, the result also we are going to get from the P here. The P is coming from the last object here. The result we are trying to return. Now what you are understanding here? So we'll try to find out the last element, and whatever the last element we are going to find, the last element is going to remove, and the removed object we are trying to returning here. So here we are going to get the removed object here. If this particular E is null, we are trying to return null. So otherwise we are trying to find out the object here. So this is the purpose of this particular pool last method. And now you can see the pool first method, we are trying to load the first entry. First entry will have, now read this particular message here. So the full first method, it will try to return the first element. Carrying the point. So it will try to remove the, sorry, it will try to return the first element by removing the first element. Carrying the point. Whatever the element we are trying to remove, the first element is going to return by this particular pool first method. And same way, the pool last method, so it will try to find out the last element, and whatever the object, the last object we are going to remove here, the last object it will return here. So now again we need to understand here. So navigable submap. So we'll go for the tree map here. So we are trying to find out the get first entry. Carrying the point. So what is the object we are having? Now you can say this is the root object. With the root object we are getting here. If the root object is not null, with help of this particular while loop, carrying the point, with help of this particular while loop, whenever we are having this particular left information, so if the left object is not equals to null, it will try to override the object information. The final object we are going to get as a P. The P we are trying to return here. Carrying the point. So we need to understand the what is the root it will contain, what is the left. Okay. So we'll provide the more information, the left and the root in our upcoming classes here. So just understand here what is the information is implemented in this particular implementation class. So first entry. So simply is trying to find out the one object here. So that is they are making the first entry. From the first entry, they're trying to check for the whether this particular object we can export or not. And so based on the some other condition, we can export here. If the particular P not equals null, they're trying to deleting this particular object here. And whatever the object we are trying to delete, the object we are trying to return. The object is returning here, right? So this is only the difference between pool first and pool last method here. And subset. So basically, subset is nothing but between the objects. Correct the point. I want to load the first element, and I want to load I want to give the first element and the last element. So between the how many elements we are having, so I want to load. So those section of code is going to provide the subset here. So if you understand the substring concept which we discussed in the previous classes, the same way we can work through in the subset methods here. Carrying the point. Only the difference here will provide the index values. Here we will provide the object information, and from object to object. Between the how many objects we are having, all the objects we are going to create, we are going to copy, and we'll create a new object, and we'll store the between the whatever the object we are going to have, we'll return those objects here. So this is only the difference between the subset method and pool first and pool last method. So any other questions? Okay. Now we can see, we'll try to move on to the queue interface. Carrying the point. So we need to understand the queue interface here. So what is the purpose of this particular queue interface? So before discussing the purpose here, now you can see the queue is extending from the collection. Carrying the point. So the queue is extending from the collection interface. Whenever it is extending from the collection interface, we already identified here. So whatever the method we are having, inside this particular collection interface, those method we can access into the queue interface because it is the extending. Okay. Now we need to understand the particular queue interface purpose. So if we want to find out the first in first out to cutting the point. So if we want to find out the first in first out information, we can go for this particular queue interface. And queue also, it is a generic interface. Getting the point. And along with this particular first in first out here, we need to understand the, so there we are having type of queues here, so which are the ordering based on the some criteria. Getting the point. So we are going to get to some objects on the order based on the some criteria. Also we can get the order information. Along with this particular order information, we can go for the first in first out here. So whatever the element we inserted as a first, so we can get the same element as a first here. Getting the point. So as of now, this particular feature, it is not implemented to any other interfaces here. Getting the point. So far we discussed the list interface and set interface, sorted set and navigable set. But in all the interfaces, so we doesn't know, so what is the element we are going to get as a first and what is the element we are going to get as a last here. But in the queue, so we can get here the first element to whatever the first element we inserted, the same element we can get here. That is called first in first out here. Right. Now we need to understand what are the interfaces we are having here. Okay. So before, like, what are the methods we are having here? So before going to discuss the methods inside this particular interface, so someone is asking the question, difference between sorted set and navigable set. So basically, navigable set will have additional functionality compared to the sorted set, because the navigable set is extending from the sorted set. The sorted set will having only the behavior like only sorting behavior. Whether we want to go for the ascending or descending, we can work with a sorting like a sorted set here. But the navigable set, along with the sorting behavior, so we are having the retrieval option here. Whenever we are trying to load the objects here, we are having some different conditions here. So based on the different condition, we can load the object. So this kind of feature is not implemented in the sorted set here. So this is only the difference between sorted set and navigable set. So if you observe here, in the sorted set here, the method set will provide the information. Now you can see the first method and last method. To find out the first element or last element, we can go for the and subset method and head set method and tail set method. And here, now what you are understanding here? So here they are checking the greater and less than condition to load the object here. But now you can see we are having the different methods here. So now greater than condition or less than condition, getting the point, or equal condition, return the least element or greatest element, getting the point. So these least element and greatest elements we are going to get again based on the sorting behavior. Internally the elements are going to sort it, and so based on the after sorting here, so what is the last element, well, like what is the least element we are having, so the least element is going to return by the floor method. Same way the lower method also, it will return the greatest element, and now you can see it will try to return this particular ceiling method also, but the condition now you can see, so greater than or equals. So these are the additional behaviors, like additional functionality, so we are going to get from the navigable set here. So these are the information we don't have in our sorted set interface. Okay. So back to here, the queue interface methods. So we need to understand the queue interface methods here. So what exactly the queue interface method we are having? So to understand this particular queue interface method, first we need to open the queue interface here. So what are the queue interface methods we are going to have? Let me close others here. Now I want to open queue interface. So this is the interface which is coming from the java.util package here. Now you can read here, this particular queue is extending from the our collection. Getting the point, queue is extending from the our collection here. Now, so understand here add method. So the particular add method we already identified, but here we need to focus on the offer method. So as of now, the offer method is not identified here. Getting the point. So the particular add method now we can see. So it's going to insert the element. So into this particular queue, if it is possible to do immediately. So without checking the capacity restrictions. Getting the point. Without checking the capacity restrictions here. So and it will return the true. So if the object is successfully added, otherwise it will throw an exception here. It will throw an exception if we don't have any space here. Getting the point. Now we can read this particular add method here, what it will doing here. So it will try to add an object without checking the space here. Getting the point, without checking the capacity here. If the capacity is not available, it's going to throw an exception called illegal state of exception here. So this is the purpose of this particular add method. And what about this particular offer method? And the offer method also, it will try to add an element into the queue. If the object is added, it will return true. So otherwise, it will return false here. But now, what is the condition we need to understand here? Now you can see, so this also, it will insert the element into the, so this also insert the element into the queue. But if it is possible to do without without violating the capacity restriction, and now you can see basically, so here we are having which can fail to insert an element when throwing an exception. In case if I am going to get any exception, it will not insert the particular object. Getting the point, it will not add into the particular object into the queue interface here. But now observe, so the difference between queue and offer and add method here. So we need to read these two statements so that we can understand the difference between add method and offer method. Let me, now you can see this method also generally it's going to preferable to the add method, but here which can fail to insert the element only when throwing an exception. So if I'm going to get any exception here, so it will fail the insertion operation here. So in other cases, the object is going to inserted successfully here. If the object is inserted successfully, we are going to get a true here. Otherwise, we'll get a false here. So this section of code is providing return information. If the element was added to this particular queue, so it will return true, else it will return false. Right. Now, again, we can read one more time this particular add method. Now we can see, so this is also without checking any the capacities restrictions here. Carrying the point. And it is returning true. So it's returned true when the insertion operation success. So otherwise, it's going to throw an exception. It will not return false here. Getting the point? It will not return false here. It will throw an exception. Getting the point? So this is the difference. So both methods are trying to add an element into the queue, but add method, if the space is the capacity is not available, so it will throw an exception. The offer method, it will not throw any exception. It will return false here. It will return false here. So this is the difference between, this is the difference between offer method as well as add method. So now we'll go for the another method. So remove method. Remove method we don't want to discuss here. So pull method. Now what it will do? And now you can see. So this is the remove here. Getting the point. It will remove the head of this particular queue. This method differ from the pull and okay. This method is different from the pull method. Now what you understand here? So it's going to throw an exception if the queue is empty. Getting the point. So this particular remove method, it will try to remove an object from this particular queue. But here, if this particular queue is empty, so it's going to throw an exception. It's going to throw an exception. Now you can see, so the pull method also will remove an element from the queue. But if the queue is empty, it will return null. If the queue is empty, it will return null. It's not throwing any exception. Now you can see, so there is no throws block information here. So there is no throws block information in the pull method. But the throws block information is available in our remove method. Getting the point. So this is, we need to understand here. And element. Getting the point. Element also now you can see is trying to throw an exception. But when this particular queue is empty, we'll get an exception. But here, it will not remove the element here. So it will try to, without removing the element, it will try to return the object here. Whatever the object is stored, it will try to return the object here. And now you can see, this method is different from the peek method. This method is different from the peek method. Now we can see, what is the peek method here? Now, this particular peek method, if the object, the queue is empty, it will return null. So now you can see, if the queue is empty, it will throw an exception. But both methods will return the object here. Will return the object here. So this is only the difference we need to understand the queue interface related methods. Queue interface related methods here. Let me open the implementation class. So priority queue. Okay, so which is extending abstract queue here. Let me see any information is implemented in the abstract queue. Add method. So observe carefully here. In the queue interface, so just now we discussed about the add method. Getting the point. So this is the method we are discussing here. So add method is trying to throw an exception. Getting the point. So it's trying to throw so these many exceptions it will throw. Based on our requirement, these many exceptions will throw. But now observe how this particular add method is implemented. And queue is a interface. Abstract queue is our abstract class. So which is extending from the queue interface. Getting the point. Now you can see it's not extending, which is implementing from the queue interface. Whenever we are implementing here, we already identified here. So we need to implement what are the methods we are having inside this particular queue. So in that case only, we are trying to identify add method. Now you can see what we are doing here. So add method, internally it is calling offer method. Add method, internally it is calling offer method. Now observe. So this particular add method, it is calling internally offer method. So if the offer method, now understand it, if the offer method is returning true, so when this particular offer method will return true, if the element was added to this queue. So otherwise it will return false. So now understand here, if this particular condition, between the condition they are calling the method. Getting the point. Between the condition, they are calling the method call offer. If the condition is returning, offer method is returning true, so they are returning true. So else, now what they are doing here, they are throwing an exception. They are throwing an exception here. Getting the point. So now what you understand here, So add method internally calling the offer method. So based on the offer method return type, if the offer method returning true, so the add method will return true. If the offer method is returning false, if the offer method returning false, we are going to get an exception here. Now we need to understand the offer method. So offer method, sorry. Okay, offer method is not yet implemented. So this particular offer method is not yet implemented. Now what we can do, so to understand this particular offer method, so we need to go for the priority queue. Now you can see the priority queue inside this particular offer, so it's throwing a null pointer exception. It's throwing a null pointer exception. This is different here because now you can see offer method is not going to return, like it's not going to throw any exception. Right, is not going to throw any exception here, but based on the object's values null, based on this particular object value null, so they are handling this particular exception called null pointer exception here. Getting the point. Now what it will do, so it will simply add an element into this particular queue, so it will return true. Okay, so back to here the priority queue. Now if the E not equals to null, what we are doing here, so they are increasing the count, so they are trying to find out in the size. So based on this particular size, they are checking the one condition. They are calling the grow method. Getting the point. So to work on the shift operation, they are trying to find out the shift operations, increasing the size. And now you can see they are returning true. Getting the point. Now you can see, so this is the way the objects which going to, this is the way the offer method is implemented. So only we need to focus on to the, so to understand the how many times this particular offer method is called, we are going to work for the mod count here, and they are trying to find out the q dot length here, how many elements we added, and the length if it is greater than or equals to 0, so they are calling the grow method. So now what it will do, the grow method, getting the point. So it will increase the size here. It will increase the capacity. Observe here. So this is the old capacity. The old capacity we are getting here q dot length. So based on this particular q dot length here, so this is the operation they are doing to find out the new capacity. Getting the point. It is trying to find out the new capacity. Based on this particular new capacity, observe copy of method. rs dot copy of method. Copy of is a static method. It will try to copy the object information into the new capacity. Based on this particular new capacity, all the objects are copied here. All the objects are copied here. Now the queue is increased here. The queue of this particular capacity is increased here. Now we can store some of the multiple values. Getting the point. So because of this particular condition, so the collection framework will have growable nature. So based on the object initiation, automatically the objects will grow. Getting the point. Here we are not writing any code to increase the capacity of each and every object. Getting the point. So this is very important here. Now you can go any class like any interface, list interface or set interface or sorted set, navigable set or queue interface. So based on this condition, the object creations like object capacity or object size, so it will increase automatically. It will increase automatically. Explicitly we are not going to write any code. So this is the main advantage we are going to get from the collections here, right? So now we understand here the growing operation. So based on this particular shift up, so this particular shift up operation will insert the element here. Now you can see whatever the element we are passing, and this is our size. So based on this particular size, the element is going to store, right? So now we understand here add method as well as offer method. The add method and offer method both are working on the same method here. Only the difference here, the offer method will return false. We may get an exception, right? So same way we'll try to find out the we'll try to find out the one by one implementation classes here. Okay, so back to here, I want to add what are the methods we are having. What are the methods we are having inside this particular queue interface here? So any questions regarding this particular queue interface or methods here? So far, whatever the method we discussed inside this particular queue interface. So let me know if anyone having any questions. I will try to cover up one more time here. So remove method. The collection like interface remove method is different, and whatever the remove method we have discussed, this particular remove is different because the collection remove method it will not throw any exception. It will not throw any exception here, but the queue related remove method will throw an exception if the queue is empty. So this is only the difference between the collection remove method as well as the like a queue interface remove method. And pull method. The pull method also, it will remove the element from the queue, but if the queue is empty, it will return null. And so what are the other methods we are having here? Element method. So element method also, it will try to return the object here. It will try to return the object here, but only if this particular queue is empty, we'll get an null here. Sorry, we'll get an exception. If the particular queue is empty, we'll get an exception. So otherwise, whatever the object we are trying to return, we are going to get the particular object here. But this particular peek method, it will not it will not throw any exception if this particular queue is empty, it will return null. So we'll see. So peek method. Let me open this particular peek method is not implemented. So otherwise we'll check element method. So element method internally it is calling the peek method. Observe element method internally it is calling the peek method. If this particular x is x is not equals to null, they are returning this particular x. So if the x is not, this condition is not satisfied, so we may get an exception. We may get an exception. Now you can see inside this particular queue. So what is the exception we are going to get? No such element exception. The same exception here they are throwing or not? Getting the point. The same exception they are throwing here. Now you can see it is a runtime exception. So how we can understand here it is a runtime exception or it is a compile time exception. So we already identified some of the exception when we are trying to discuss our exception handling mechanism. So try catch black we are going to define if it is a checked exception, right? Now you can see there is no checked exception like a try catch black. So simply we are throwing an exception, right? So this is the element method is implemented, but element method is internally calling the which method? Peek method. If the peek method is returning an empty object, so this particular element method will throw an exception. If the peek method is not returning, like it is not returning empty object, so we are not going to get any object here. Now we need to understand the peek method. The peek method is implemented in our implementation class, something called priority queue. Observe inside this particular priority queue, so they are trying to return the queue of 0. Queue, it is a array type. Now what we are doing is, so whatever the object which is stored in the 0 index location, we are getting the particular object here. Getting the point? We are trying to get the particular object. Now you can see the type conversions also. Now you can understand here they are converting into the E. So E is nothing but element. So whatever the element we are trying to store, so the particular element we are going to get. Getting the point. So this is the implementation of this particular peak method. So peak method is nothing but we already discussed array related example, multiple array related example we discussed here. So now you can see the each and every the collections internally they are going to work on the array concepts. The string handling also we identified. So those are also internally working on the arrays concepts. Getting the point. So that much important the particular array concepts here. Right. Every string handling or our collections they are working on the arrays and index basis concepts here. These are the index basis concepts here. Okay. Now we'll see the remaining interface something called DQ here. So any questions regarding this particular queue interface? So anyone having any questions? Okay. So the final interface we need to discuss here something called DQ interface. So here basically this particular DQ interface is extending from the which interface? Which interface is extending? Again queue interface. So whenever it is extending, so again, so these are the methods we can access into the DQ interface. Along with that, we are going to have the benefit call here, the first in first out behavior. Correct the point. The first in first out behavior. So we are going to get in the DQ interface. Along with that, we are going to get last in first out. Correct the point. Last in first out stacks also we are going to get an additional benefit from the DQ interface. Getting the point. So this is we need to understand here. Basically, we are going to call it as this is the double-ended queue we are going to call because so it's going to perform two-way operations. First in first out or last in first out also is going to perform the two-way operations here. So this is the additional benefit we are going to get from this particular interface called DQ. Now we need to understand what are the methods we are having inside this particular DQ interface. So let me close this particular the classes sections. We need to go for the DQ. So this is the DQ interface. I'm trying to open and observe. So DQ is extending from the queue interface. So and from the which onwards this particular interface is available 1.6. And now you can see what is the package here java.util. So these are the main information we need to understand here. So now after adding this particular after knowing this particular information, so we'll try to find out the elements here. We'll try to find out the methods here. So what you understand this particular by seeing this particular method. So we are trying to add an element, the first of the DQ object here. Getting the point. We are trying to add an element first of the DQ object here. Now what it will do? Basically, so it will add an object to the head of the queue and it will throw an exception. It will throw an exception if the particular queue is out of space. The capacity is reached. Getting the point. So if I'm trying to add a new element here, if we don't have a space here, we are going to get an exception here. Getting the point. So this is the purpose of this particular add first method. So you can see, so without checking this particular violation restriction, if no space is currently available, it's going to throw an exception. So which exception is going to throw? It's going to throw an exception called illegal state exception. Illegal state exception. Carrying the point. So this we need to understand here. Right. Now understand here the purpose of this particular add first method. It will try to add an element into the head of this particular queue. So if the queue, the capacity is filled, it's going to throw an exception. and we need to add, so it will throw an exception if there is no space. Okay, now we understand the particular add first method. Now we need to go for the another method, add last method. Now what we are doing this particular add last method, so same way, but only the difference here, we'll try to add in a, we'll try to object into the end of the this particular DQ. We'll try to add an object to the end of the DQ here, but only the difference here. So again, it will throw an exception when there is no capacity. When there is no capacity. Now you can see, so it will insert the specified element end of the queue. End of the queue. And if the capacity is fill, we are going to get an exception. So throwing an illegal set of exception if no space is currently available. If no space is available currently. Right. So this is the purpose of this particular add last method. And we need to focus on the another methods here. Add last we identified. Offer first. Offer first. Getting the point. So offer related methods, they are not going to throw any exception. They will return simply false here. Now you can see, so this is also, it will try to insert the element at front of this particular queue. Front of this particular queue. And so when we are using the capacity restriction queue, so this method, like, so this particular method will will return true if the element is added. So otherwise it will return false. So this is the return statement of this particular offer first method. Only the difference here, the add first method will return, like, will throw an exception if the based on the capacity restrictions here, but offer first method will return only true or false. Will return true or false here. So this is only the difference between add first and offer first. So same way we will have one more method. We'll have one more method, offer last. Carrying the point. This particular offer last also will same. It will try to return true or false, but only the difference here, it will insert the object end of the queue. It will return it will insert the object end of the queue. Getting the point. So now we understand the offer first, add first, and offer last, and add last. And so we need to find out the remove first. Getting the point. So remove first, now you can see it will throw an exception. It will throw an exception if the DQ is empty. Right. So otherwise what it will do, it will remove the first element from the DQ. Getting the point. It will try to remove the first element from the DQ here, but only, so the difference here, only the difference here, if the DQ is empty, we are going to get an exception called no such element exception. No such element exception. So this is the purpose of this particular, remove first method. And the same way we can understand the remove last. This particular remove last also, so it will try to remove the last element. It will try to remove the last element here, and if this particular DQ is empty, if the DQ is empty, we may get an exception. The same exceptions is going to thrown by the two methods, remove first and remove last, and pull first here. Now you can see this particular pull first also will remove the object, but the difference here, if the object is like a DQ object is empty or null, so it will return, sorry, So if the DQ object is empty, it will return null. So this is the difference between remove first method and pool first method. So they are having like what we can call it as a some difference between the each and every method. So if you observe, all the first methods are having some difference, all the last methods is having some difference here. But the DQ, the purpose of this particular methods here to load the objects, the first elements or last element here. But while loading this particular object here, so we are having some restrictions here. So that we need to understand here. Carrying the point. So that we need to focus on to the carefully here. Pool first. So as well as we can go for this particular pool last also will perform same. It will try to retrieve the object from the, like it will try to remove the object from the DQ. If the DQ is empty, it will return null. It will return null. Getting the point. Now, get first method. Observe here, get first method. Again, the get first method is trying to throw an exception. Again, this particular get first method is trying to throw an exception when the DQ is empty. Getting the point. When the DQ is empty. So it will try to load the first element from this particular DQ interface, but only the difference we can understand here. If the DQ is empty, so we may get an exception. So same way, now what we can understand here, the get last also. Get last also. Getting the point. So it is used to understand the naming convention. It's providing the information how this particular methods are working. How this particular methods are working internally. So each and every method internally, so it's going to call the another method. So now you can see, so we already identified first method. So get first method. This get first method is going to call from the pool first method, I guess. Peak first method. Cutting the point. Peak first method. So the get first method is going to call internally peak first method. If the peak first method is returning null, so it's going to throw an exception. It's going to throw an exception here. So this we need to understand. Simply it will return null if the DQ object is empty. If the DQ object is empty. Okay, observe. Same way we are going to have this particular method called peak last method. It will also perform find out the last element here, and if the DQ is empty, it will try to return the null here. It will return the null here. Getting the point. Now we can understand remove first occurrence. Remove first occurrence here. So what is doing this particular remove first occurrence here? When this particular method is added, basically, so whatever the object we are going to get as a first time, getting the point, or we can call it as a, so for example, we are having in the DQ the same object 3-4 times. What it will do, the first time, getting the point, first time object is going to remove from this particular DQ here. So whatever the object we are passing here, so it's going to check how many times this particular object is implemented. So based on that, it will try to remove the first occurrence of the particular object here. Now you can see internally they are checking equals method to find out whether the given object and the parameter objects are both are same or not. So if a such element is exists here, now you can see it's returning true, and so when it is returning true, the object is going to remove from the DQ collection here. Cutting the point. So it's going to remove from the DQ collection here. So this is the purpose of this particular remove first occurrence here. Remove first occurrence here. Right. So we'll try to copy. So up to this information. And so we need to check for the other methods here. Remove the lost occurrence here. So we don't want to discuss more about this particular method. Getting the point. So it is a same behavior, but only the difference is it will remove the lost element here. It will remove the lost element. So add method we don't want to discuss here. Right. So now you can see. Okay, let me see. So it's going to throw an exception. The add method which is coming from the queue. So the queue interface method we already identified. Offer also is coming from the queue. So these are the remove, pull methods, and element method, peek method. Getting the point. So these are all the methods are coming from the queue interface. But this method is coming from the where? Getting the point. This method is coming from the where? So it's coming from the collection, but only here they are having some conditions here. So the implementation is different. Getting the point. So now if you observe, the add method and add all methods are coming from the collection interface. But even though if it is coming from the collection interface, the implementation section they implemented, like based on the implementation class, the logic is implemented differently. So each interface having unique behavior of the particular add method. So if we compare, list interface add method is going to perform differently. The set method perform is going to differently, and the queue methods in the queue interface add method is going to perform differently. But here the common method where we define in the collection interface. So just we are trying to extending, and based on our requirement we are implementing here. So now if you observe, so some methods are throwing some exceptions, but the same method is not going to throw any exception in other implementation classes. So this is we need to think about more here. So add all also is coming from our collection interface. So push method. So this is the unique method which is coming from the DQ interface push method. Now what is doing here this particular push method? So it's going to like how we can explain it, like, so we are going to store the element into the it's going to store element into the particular DQ here, but now so we need to think about so it's going to add an element into this particular like a DQ, and so again it's going to throw an exception here. Again it's going to throw an exception, but only the difference here, this particular push method is not returning anything. Here. So only the information what we can understand, if the element cannot add it to this particular time, so due to the capacity restriction, we may get an exception here. So only what we need to understand here, so push method also is going to add an element into the head of the queue, but only the difference, so it's going to throw an exception, so based on this particular conditions here. And the push method, it will not return any element here. It is a void type here. So these are the three information we need to understand regarding this particular push method. Here. Okay, so back to here. So I added the push method information into our node and a pop method. What it will do this particular pop method? the pop method will load from the data, like will load the object from the DQ, and if the object is not available, if the DQ is empty, so we are going to get an exception here. We are going to get an exception. So this is the purpose of this particular pop method. So simply we can understand here, while loading the object, if the DQ is an empty, so we are going to get an exception. So that this is the purpose of this particular pop method. And remove method. So remove method is different. We identified the remove first, remove last method. Getting the point. So pull first method or pull last method. So now you can see, to remove an object here, around we are having, so 5 or 6 methods we are having here. But each method is having so unique behavior here. Getting the point. So each method is having unique behavior. Now you can see it will try to remove the first occurrence of the element from the DQ, and if the DQ does not contain the element, now what it will do here? So it will true, and it's going to throw in a class cast exception. So if it is not compatible with any other data type here, it will not compatible any other data type, is going to throw an exception. Otherwise it will return true. So whenever it is returning true, now we can understand the particular object is removed from the particular DQ object here, from this particular DQ object here, right? So just I'm copying here. We'll try to focus on the implementation section. So how this particular each method is implemented, right? So contains method. So we already identified this particular contains method, whether the given object is already existed into the DQ or not. We are going to find out the with help of this particular contains. So size method. So this size method to find out the size of the particular DQ array. Find out the DQ array, right? So iterator we are going to discuss. So after completion of the all the implementation classes. So as of now we are discussing only interface section. We need to go for the implementation classes on the each interface here. Right, now understand here descending iterator. So descending iterator we already identified. So from the sorted set here. So same way, if we want to iterate an object based on the descending order, we can go for this particular descending iterator. Now you can see how this particular descending iterator is implemented here. So to find out the descending iterator implementation, now first what we need to understand here. So we need to understand the implementation class. Getting the point. The implementation class here. So the implementation class here, what is the like a DQ implementation class? The DQ implementation class is a implementation class called ArrayDQ. ArrayDQ. Now you can see ArrayDQ is the implementation of DQ interface. Getting the point. Now you can see, so which is implementing from the DQ interface. So these are the two interface, clonable and serializable. We'll see so how this particular two are going to work, but it is extending from the abstract collection and it is implementing from the DQ interface. Now what we can understand here, the descending method. Getting the point. Now you can see, so descending method is implemented here. So internally, now what you understand here, if I'm going to open descending iterator method, now what you are understanding here, we are creating new object here. So what is the new object we are creating here? Descending iterator. So now what you are understanding here, whenever we are creating an object, so it is a one class here. Descending iterator is a one class. Where it is defined here? So now you can see internally they define the one class here. So we discussed already, it is a nested class. Getting the point. It is a nested class here. Getting the point. Now how we are going to access this particular nested class object information, we already discussed here. Now you can see this class is again is extending from the one more iterator here, one more iterator class. So where this particular iterator class is implemented, Now this particular class is implemented here only. This particular class also is implemented in the particular class called ArrayDQ. Inside this particular ArrayDQ only the class is implemented. Now observe, finally these classes are implementing from the iterator. So we need to understand how the iterator interface having the methods here. The iterator method, like iterator interface having some methods here. Let me open the iterator. So this is the iterator which is coming from the 1.1 onwards. So these are the methods. So first method we are having as next, and the second method we are having next method, right? And third method we are having remove method. It is a default method, and this is also default method for each remaining. Okay, now we need to focus on to the two methods. What are the two methods we need to focus? One method is a next method, another method is a has next method. Now observe inside this particular DQ iterator how the two methods are implemented. So has next method. So the as next method is implemented here. Right. Now you can see, so this is the variable here. The cursor is a one variable they provided, and they are making size here, remaining. Correct that. Their remaining is a one more variable, but they are calling the size here. Correct the point. They are calling the size method. Now understand how many variable did it declare inside this particular DQ iterator. Correct the point. So one variable is called cursor, second variable called remaining, so third variable called last RET. Getting the point. And DQ iterator is our constructor. Getting the point. So it is a default constructor. And now we can see, so this particular constructor we are not going to call from the outside. So there is no access modifier. There is no access modifier here. So this class will call within this particular package called java.util. And so by default, now what we are doing is we are making cursor is equals to head. So what is the head? So this particular head is coming from the ArrayDQ. This particular head variable will declare on top of the ArrayDQ class. On top of the ArrayDQ class. Right. Now observe. So this the default constructor we identified, and after this one more method they implemented, has next method. Now they are checking here return. So remaining greater than 0. So remaining we are going to get from this size. Getting the point. If the size we are having 10, so the 10 greater than 0. So this particular condition is going to return true. So we are going to call has next method. It will return true. Now observe here. So next method. This particular next method we already identified. So this is the next method. How this particular next method is implemented. So now the next method internally they are checking remaining less than or equals to 0. So if the remaining less than or equals to 0, we are getting an exception. If the condition is not satisfying, they are loading the element and they are checking not null conditions here. Cursor, with the help of this particular cursor, they are checking here, and so they are working on the increment here. They are calling increment method. So based on these particular values, last REC is equals to cursor and es.length. The es is coming from the object array and elements. These elements, whatever the object we are going to store, in a ArrayDQ, so the object will store into this particular variable called elements here. Right. With the help of this particular element, we are finding the cursor, and we are trying to decreasing the remaining. We are trying to decreasing the remaining variable, and we are trying to returning the particular e. Whatever the e we are going to get, the object we are getting here. So based on this particular method, we are getting an object here. So this is the way the next method is implemented. Right. Now we understand the DQ, how it is implemented. So now what we can do, so we need to go to the descending iterator. So again, inside this particular descending iterator, again they implemented the next method. Again they implemented next method. Okay. And this is the constructor of this particular descending iterator. So they are adding one method called post delete, and for each remaining they implemented the method. So we need to focus on to these methods here. Now you can see, so this is the class close braces here. So this is the class brace is open, the nested class here, and the nested class is closed here. The nested class is closed. But now what we can do, we need to check for the where this particular method is calling. Where this particular method is calling. So maybe this method is calling from the outside. Let me see. Can we access? No. So we cannot get the information here. Oh, we're getting. Okay. So this is the way I'm going to provide the information about the each and every method. But we need to very carefully understand here how the variables are declared and how the methods are declared and how the constructors are declared here, so that we can get to know more about the each and every collection class, how it is implemented here. Getting the point, right? So this section of code we are going to discuss on our Monday class, because as of now we completed all the interfaces. What are the interfaces we are having inside the collections? So we completed here. We'll continue on Monday the implementation classes. So to understand the implementation classes here, first we need to focus on the abstract classes. So some of the abstract classes are implemented. First we need to know what are the abstract classes we are having. So once we are familiar with abstract classes, we are going to move on to the implementation classes, right? So any questions regarding our today's session? Okay. So if we don't have anything here, we'll try to continue on Monday.